Be authentic. Bring that in. That's actually what your artistic voice is. That is your style. Your style will emerge from your voice. Authenticity creates strong, powerful work. Do you want to understand your true artistic style, your artist's voice, and you're a little bit tired of all the advice you've got so far? Well, it's not as hard as you think. It just requires a bit of common sense. This is the checklist, and it's nothing about copying or stealing from other artists. Number one, understanding your own natural tendencies. All I'm here to do is not psychoanalyze you, but get you to do it yourself. Your artistic style reflects your personality and vice versa. Start observing how you operate as not only an artist, but as a human being. Look at what naturally you turn to, things you do with great ease. Notice what energizes you and what drains you. Start to pay attention to recurring themes in your work or your sketchbook. What is it that keeps coming up? It may not be as obvious as you first think, but then once you stay and hover over it, look for the metaphor. Key point number 2, break free from external pressures. This one isn't as easy as it sounds. Don't let commercial success start to trap you and imprison you. You can still be pleasing and getting those sales, but at the same time not becoming a caged animal in a zoo. And that leads to avoiding getting trapped in other people's expectations, and that is mostly art galleries and clients. It's a really difficult one. So what's not talked about very much is that there's a pressure coming from the complete opposite direction as well. And it's just as bad. Commercial galleries push you toward the market. Universities push you away from it. Both are someone else deciding what your art is for. That's actually an external pressure, and you have to manage it, not turn away from one or the other. Remember, university training can sometimes limit creativity. There's a lot of reasons for that, but mostly because these are academics that are teaching you about art, and you'll very rarely ever learn how to paint or anything about actually applying your concepts practically and pragmatically, including with feedback from the real world, which is actually connected to money. And money is a dirty word on the university art circuit. So there it is. One lot wants you to make what sells, and the other lot thinks wanting to sell is beneath you. And both of them are telling you what your art is for. Neither of them is you. And keeping your eye on what is your work and what you want to do with it is not that easy. We all want to sell work so we can live off it, and we also would all love to be in a state collection or be taken seriously. Focus on what feels authentic to you. That's so important. There's this little problem that you don't get warned about, and it's not about copying other artists, it's about copying yourself. You do a painting, it sells fast, and then you put a dozen that have a similar feeling into a show and they all sell out. Of course you're going to copy your own formula, and now you're in a commercial contract. So the gallerist will, ring you up and ask you for something along those lines. That's just how commerce works. There's nothing wrong with it. The only trouble is it works for them, and yes, it works for your bank balance, but eventually it catches up to your creative spirit. It is fantastic. You can ride that horse for a long time. But that's how you end up falling off the railway tracks of your own creative voice. You can hold the two together. Just be aware. The more success you have, the more tightly bound you can get in that formula, unless you are constantly practicing doing something different, leaking it in so people get used to that. It is so natural for you as an artist, as it is for any human being, to just keep evolving and growing. I mean, you wouldn't want to be the same person you were when you were a teenager, right? Maybe. I've had a very long career, and I can tell you, if I didn't change, there would be something seriously wrong, and I would not have kept it up. But I had to be a little bit careful about how I did that change. Key point number 3, learning from your experience. There is no way I can explain to you in a few short minutes how important that is. Yes, you may have to copy other artists for a while, try new things, try everything. Anything you're attracted to, try it. And the reason you do that is not to just copy someone and then, run away with their formula because it's successful or something. It's to actually record and take notice of what feels natural to you in a methodology or a thinking, a process, the process of applying art, of thinking about art. Notice which processes you enjoy and which ones feel forced and fake. For example, I love the first stage where I've got the great big canvas on the floor and the music playing and I'm just slushing it around as long as I don't get too tight. When I start going, into perfectionism, I feel like I'm absolutely dying from a lack of oxygen. And the key point is document what feels natural, what feels good. Keep a record, have a sketchbook, put notes in there. Take photos, stick them in, do something. Keep a journal, but pay attention. Don't just do things and just keep moving on. It's going to be about a lot more than just what ends up on the piece of paper or the canvas. It's going to be about the process you're engaged in that experimental phase. And I just want to say this to you, that experimental phase, if you're actually authentic, will go on until the last experiment when they put you in the grave, if you're a proper artist. Key point number 4, identifying your creative pattern. Some artists are detail-orientated and others are spontaneous and all over the place, loose and crazy, and they don't draw inside the lines. The others are like, yeah, it's realistic, it's real. Neither one is wrong. They're all right. And there's a lot of places in between that as well. That's not a nebulous answer. It's to do with your nature. And if every artist was the same, it wouldn't be art. It would be boring crap. Your job is to work out which one you kind of fit into. It's like that, that story about the swan who thought he was an ugly duckling. Some artists are going to be detail-orientated. They're doing their realism and their may not even be realism, but they're emulating something they see. It's a sensing details. They might even be impressionists, but their goal is to replicate what they see. And that's actually the challenge. So that could be a sensing, perceiving thing going on. If they're wanting to get very precise and accurate, like realistic rendition, like realism, or even hyperrealism, just realism generally, then they're highly focused on their craft. It's about getting it exactly the same. That's all about personality type. Your working style is one of the biggest clues to finding your artistic voice. Key point number 5, embrace your unique vision. Your personal experiences will shape your artwork. It'll shape your subject matter. It doesn't matter whether you're an abstract artist, a realistic artist, a expressionist, a narrative painter. The subject of your life will penetrate into your artist's voice. They are inseparable. So I remember when I was a younger artist, I kept getting compared to Arthur Boyd and a few others. And so that's actually where it was a similar nature. That's why when I looked at their work, I could relate. Albert Tucker was another one. I loved his work, and very few people of my era actually even knew who he was. All the angry penguins were my favourites. It was just this movement of angry penguins. That sums up my personality. I am a bit of an angry penguin. I mean, I'm not saying that, someone who paints white squares of paint lives like that, but there's something about those, say, white abstract squares that represents something in that person's state of mind. Something about their past, something about their life, something frustrating them that they just want to get it all back to a white square. I'm at the other end of the spectrum. Your experiences will shape your art. My early work, the first work I even wanted to paint, was about my outback life. It was unique, but I wasn't trying to be anything. It was just me sharing the stories that were circulating around my head, where I'd spent 10 years in the outback. Really in the outback, not on a safari, actually working on cattle stations and the likes. And these stories, these eccentric people that I had met along the way and the things that had happened out in the stock camps, they were very much a heightened experience in my mind. The most beautiful paintings have come through just domestic observations and love. Even war artists do exceptional work. Raw, emotive, story making. Never force yourself into someone else's mold. Be authentic. Bring that in. That's actually what your artistic voice is. That is your style. Your style will emerge from your voice. Authenticity creates strong, powerful work. It's real work. It's real art. It's not decoration. What are you? A bloody furniture designer? A house decorator? Or are you an artist? Remember I said you may need to copy for a while? That's technique. That's not voice. And here's the difference. All this bullshit about stealing like an artist. To me, that's just a lousy excuse to actually really do the hard work of actually getting to know who you are. Because the same philosophy applies to you to find your true artist's voice. That same concept applies to everybody, not just the artist. Why do we separate ourselves as artists as if we're some sort of, unique species? So the artistic voice is never found by copying others. All you're doing there is just trying on clothes to see what style fits you. If you wear those clothes, you will be a replica of that person that you're copying. All that's about is learning technique. Your real self, if you know who you are, will actually come through very clearly, and it might take you a little while to learn how to use the craft that you're learning, how to apply the paint. That's the hardest part of all. This business about stealing is nothing more than learning the techniques. In the old days, artists were nothing without their masters. It was expected that you would copy the master. You would be painting his paintings for him. He would be just teaching you the technique. These painters learned to paint from someone, but then they went off with their own unique vision, their crazy way of seeing things. That's all it's about, this stealing thing. You do have a unique voice. You don't have to steal it. It's you. It's you, with all your life experience, with its ups and downs and turnarounds. Test yourself out. Find out what you like. It's like anything in life. Do you like making cupcakes with little tiny details, or would you rather smash together a banana cake? I know which one I'd rather do. Ultimately, your artist's voice is discovered through understanding who you really are. Now, if you want to understand why I think that actual creativity cannot be taught, have a look at this video. All right, I'll see you soon. What are you doing? George, come back. George, bring that back here.